So you 60 now, you July's, you 10 now, you says, you people, time, you die, you car, driver, you now worry, you down. You lie. You right now, LA. You're right. You here. 60 now, you dress. You king. You jury. Die. Has. Felony. Right. Frame. You need. You trace. Suspect. You deny it. You dirty. Plate. Ramp plate. Felony. Suspect. Started as. Bait. Started. Don't know it. Wise. Daddy, bait, you suspect, Dre's, suspect, you don't know it, you only wise, suspect, you right, you speed, freeway, challenges, time now, you wise, you tell lies, you guy, you detail is, suspect.
Mike, we know this started in Torrance, according to Desmond. Do we know, did they try to, once that plate came back to this wanted suspect, did they try to pull this person over?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, no, you side, no, suit tactics, you copter, you style, you know, you copter, reason, you lucky now, you hide, you copter, you try, you void, you cloud, you freeway.
On the freeway, thank goodness for that too. On the 5 southbound here, on the 60 eastbound. I'm sorry. Let's go back upstairs to Desmond.
Wow.
SoCal, another close call there, and this person is driving really fast. Desmond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You may. You not worry. You biter. You zagging. You boy. You 40er. You properly. NJ. Whoops. Still load. You might. You not worry. You biter. You tagging. You boy. IIs. You say properly. Engine by. You handle it.
Very scary speeds.
You speed. You close. My. You bag. You lane. You wow. You des. You wow. You sanity. You 2-5. You freeway. You pretty main. By now, biter, you spotlight, copter now, you man now, cars, freeway, suspect, nine, belly,
And
street,
Desmond, earlier you talked about there were two people inside.
people,
One woman was dropped off.
die,
Circumstances of how that unfolded.
fall,
Now that it's only the driver inside of this car.
car,
Yeah, you know.
yeah, I know, freeway, dropped off, authorities, tell you, cry, LA, die,
You know, a lot of times,
times,
you know, get involved with
five,
have no idea
you dear is going on,
situation like that.
you die,
I would assume though that
you
the
Sam,
still want to talk to her.
you talk
see
to
if
her,
they can get information
you
on her.
saying,
Now that she is out of the picture, and,
picture,
good for her because
for
you are
her,
vehicle, with this person
person,
like this.
it does,
Traffic is kind of light, but I mean, you've got
like,
almost double the
speed limit,
in the carpool lane here.
poor lane,
We'll see how far they're gonna go,
take this,
definitely pretty determined to
determine,
this, even though they were not the agency
CC,
looks like they want to be
B,
to bring this to an end.
Nan,
Really
crazy,
in industry,
you straight, you five, the night, area, goodbye, freeway.
Very difficult to do. I mean, obviously, the CHP wants to bring this to an end, as Desmond was talking about, but very difficult to do with the stopping tactics. Very limited at this point because of the speed and because of the fact that we are on the freeway. When we talk about different stopping methods, we talk about the pit maneuver. We can talk about spike strips. Spike strips, very difficult to do unless you have some sort of pattern, specific lane that this person is traveling in.
Especially on a freeway.
Exactly, on the freeway. So very difficult to pull those out and get ahead of this person, first of all. And then if we try to pit maneuver, there's no way at this rate of speed that they're going to do this, right, Mike?
Yeah, and pit maneuver definitely not at this speed. Cars around. If he slows down or runs out of gas, we've seen that before. But I'm also very curious, just kind of, CHP took this over from the sheriffs, who told them, because we've talked to CHP as well. So this is a CHP pursuit right now, but CHP also only knows that this person is wanted for a felony. I would imagine it makes maybe CHP a little bit nervous that they don't know what that exact felony is, right? Because you have the watch commanders or sergeants that like to make decisions based on the severity of the crime, right? It's all about risk versus reward. The sheriff's department, even though it was a felony wow, so fast, almost 120 miles an hour in and out of these lanes, but the sheriff's department made a decision to go into surveillance mode. They didn't know what the felony was, but they didn't want to chase this guy as hard. CHP initially didn't want it when it was on surface streets, but then they had a unit in the area that got behind it and took it. CHP doesn't generally like to do it on surface streets if they don't have to, but all they know is that this person is wanted for some type of felony. I imagine somewhere behind the scenes they're all trying to figure out what the felony is and who's the agency that put this into the system that makes them want this person. But as we approach, 130 miles an hour, our speedometer says. Des, is that's fast.
Yeah, they're really, really fast, even for a vehicle like this. I mean, hey, if you don't have the right kind of brakes on a car like this and something comes up on you, you've got to slam on the brakes. You're not going to be able to stop this car fast enough. That is, really one of the biggest concerns with these kind of speeds is you just don't have time to react to anything. Even on the right-hand shoulder now, getting around that big rig right there just must be so nerve-wracking for all these people that are involved in this. And it's like, I'm really curious what this person is wanted for, that they are this desperate to get away from the authorities, just driving like this. Really, really insane driving. So I think that's probably of the highest speeds that we've seen so far, as we are really just flying like a missile towards the 60.
How many minutes
57
now?
interchange. Traffic's going to be pretty light up here, and I don't think Caltrans is going to be out there on the roadways yet. They don't usually start their projects until either
it's
10
in the
or
bottom
11
this
o'clock
time.
hours.
Wow.
It's pretty wide open conditions. We're well
9
past
minutes.
evening rush hour. Pretty
That's
easy going
cool.
for this suspect, but when you're driving this fast, and there's another CHP unit right there that he just passed up, so we'll see if they get involved. But the helicopter doing a great job of staying on this one from the air. CHP is lighting them up right now as well. And we'll see if they're able to stay engaged on the ground, because they've been having a lot of trouble staying behind this person since we were able to get this one from the 6057. Another just so close here, getting within just a couple of inches and going twice as fast as a lot of these vehicles. Very, very nerve-wracking driving for sure.
It is. And Des, talk about zooming in and out of traffic. Even just here in the past 5 minutes, there have been several close calls. And when you talk about a suspect running from police like this in this pursuit, and a felony suspect we're talking about, though we don't know what specifically this suspect is wanted for. But Mike, you can probably attest to this. It does make police kind of have that heightened sense of safety, especially at these high rates of speed.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, again, this was not a, there's a lot of unknowns for these officers at this point. This was not a crime that any of these guys witnessed, not even the original agency that started chasing it. It was not an alleged crime that they witnessed or have details on, right? So there's a lot of unknowns. If the car is not stolen, which we've not heard that it is, and they were able to run a plate, then they'll hopefully at least know who the registered owner is, which may give them a clue as to who the driver is. Obviously, the driver is not always the registered owner, but at least they'll have some, you know, information to go off of here. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns for law enforcement if they don't know what the exact felony is. And again, they may have started to figure that out behind the scenes by being able to run the plate, but certainly to us, both the California Highway Patrol and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says that they don't know what that felony is yet. So hopefully they're figuring that out, and hopefully they'll be able to make kind of a plan based on that information. But certainly, I think, Chauncey, it makes them nervous to not have all the information.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, with initial reports saying that there's possibility that they could be armed and dangerous, we don't know if that's the case right now, but if that were to be the case.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, the watch commander that we talked to kind of waffled a little bit back and forth on that. We had initially heard the Frank David call, and then they kind of walked that back a little bit. So it just may not be terribly clear exactly if there was a weapon used in this alleged crime or if they've got one on them now, but it's certainly something that they're going to be thinking about.
Okay, looks like they're exiting somewhere, Desmond, maybe an interchange?
Yeah, let's see where we're headed here. If we're headed to the southbound 57, I believe that's where we are. Yeah, so, I mean, look at how quickly we made it all the way out here now, not too far away from Orange County. Southbound 57, and now we will be headed into Orange County if we stay on this freeway just a few more miles. As you see, the sheriff's deputies' helicopter that's been lending their spotlight on this. We'll see if CHP's helicopter comes and joins this one. They would be coming out of Fullerton, so if they are launching, if they're able to launch, then they would get here pretty quickly. So I was talking about Caltrans, and actually you do see some cones there on the carpool lane. Looks like they are setting up for a project here, so that's kind of another element of danger. You've got highway workers out here, and you could definitely have, you know, traffic slowing down quite a bit, as it should be when you get into a cone zone. So we'll see how the suspect reacts to this, and it looks like it might just be the carpool lane that's blocked, so that may keep traffic in pretty free flow conditions. But now we're making our way towards Orange County, so going into a totally different county, have to get another agency involved in this most likely, and just wait to see if CHP's helicopter will be getting involved in this as well.
Oh, wow.
But and how much gas is in the tank when you're driving 130 miles an hour? That's another big factor in all this.
And real quick, CHP's fixed wing is actually coming up out of Fullerton.
Okay. That's
So
really
their
close.
helicopter's not, but their fixed wing just lifted out of Fullerton. And, you know, we'll be, I mean, the way we're going, they're going to be over this in just a couple of seconds.
Sure.
But, yeah, and I don't, you know, Des may know better than I, but I don't know if they're going to use the fixed wing because of the cloud layer. The fixed wing can get a little bit higher, has some better equipment to maybe see through some of the clouds and things like that. That was one of our concerns. You know, Des and I were talking before we were able to get overhead, is that if this guy kept going 10 west, he was going to lose the sheriff's helicopter because the ceiling was, I think Des said, like 400 or 500 feet over there. So I don't know if CHP is going to use the fixed wing to give them a better kind of advantage in the weather, but that is on its way from Fullerton.
Desmond, you were
14
talking
minutes.
about a ground unit there just a moment ago lighting up this car. Is that ground unit still visible to you, or are they way back?
I think they're way back there. Here, we'll just zoom out and show you. And this is still mainly being followed from the air on this one. The authorities just have not had the opportunity to keep up with this person. They don't want to be doing, as you see the Caltrans there. So there was the cone truck there setting up the cone pattern. So now we're past the work zone. But they have not been able to keep up with this person. They're not going to be wanting to, you know, drive 120 on the shoulder to try to catch up with this person. They're going to just be content to follow this from the air and catch up when it becomes safe for them to do so. The good news here for the fixed wing is that there really are no clouds here in Orange County. The clouds are more of an issue on the LA Basin right now. I'm looking out over the Fullerton area right now, and we've got some pretty good skies. So good conditions for the fixed wing as well. They will definitely be higher. We know that they have the infrared detection on board, the infrared cameras that can help them, especially if the suspect gets out and runs. So we're probably going to have to keep this helicopter engaged, though, at the lower altitude to really kind of keep eyes on this person. So I should probably be having the helicopter and the fixed wing on this, but still not seeing CHP behind this on the ground. As I widen way out there, it's really just the helicopter and soon to be the fixed wing. So we'll see what the strategy is going to be on this. And I mean, we've covered a lot of distance now. Torrance up to downtown, west on the 10, then east all the way through the San Gabriel Valley, and now into solidly Orange County and the city of Fullerton. Actually Brea right now, southbound on the 57.
And Desmond, has that been the case since we've since we got over this chase? Because since we've been on, I haven't seen any officers close. They've been quite a ways away. And then when you think about the incident of the woman being able to get out of the car, you've got to think that no officers were close by. And where is that woman, or what happened with her in all of this?
Yeah, and that may have also been when he dropped off the suspect. That may have been when they were kind of handing this off, because there was that lull between sheriff's deputies and CHP, where CHP was coming to get involved on the 110, but there was that point where there was no one behind this except someone on the ground. So the airship obviously saw that happen and was probably calling out to authorities to go and meet that woman, the one who got out of the vehicle. But we hadn't heard if they made contact with her or arrested her or questioned her, or if she got away. But that's kind of one of the problems when you have this kind of on again, off again, and you have a ton of distance as far as ground units, no one directly behind this person. The fixed wing, my pilot Dylan now telling me that the fixed wing is overhead, so we now have 2 sets of eyes from the sky, well, 3 including us, over the suspect here. Southbound on the 57, we're going to have another snag though if they continue south of the 91, because then we're getting into the other protected airspace area. That's the Disneyland airspace that we will have to go around. So we'll see what happens when we get to the 91, but that may complicate things for us a little bit between the 91 and the Orange Crush, but headed deeper into Orange County here at 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, we're just right next to Cal State Fullerton there on your right side. As Desmond was talking about the CHP fixed wing now overhead, that coming from Fullerton Airport, which is just along Commonwealth Avenue there, really close to where we were. So they got above right away, and we have 2 aircraft over this chopper right now, but no ground units to speak of as far as we can see. But believe us, when the CHP is communicating, they are also communicating with their ground units. Looks like they are exiting right now, Desmond?
I think they're getting on the 91 right here, maybe 91 west. Yeah, so a little last second change up there by the suspect. Very common pursuit tactic. But this will be good for us anyway to be able to bring this to you. Right, was right as we were going to get into that protected Disneyland space. Now we are westbound 91 through Fullerton, and now towards the 5 freeway.
If we keep taking this, it'll end back in Torrance. So I wonder if they just want to go back to where they all started from.
Yeah.
It's curious. We often see that, but they made one huge circle in Southern California tonight.
Especially going this fast, Susie. You talk about starting in Torrance and then even making their way to South LA, and even going through downtown, and then zipping and zooming in and out of traffic here on the 60 in East LA, and now, as you pointed out, headed back towards the Torrance area. Sort of a big fast circle there.
Yeah, no kidding. I was talking about when the CHP has their aircraft overhead, they have their eyes, of course, from the air watching this person driving this fast, but they're also in contact with various ground units that might be ahead of this chase, a different division of the CHP in Orange County, and also they're getting in touch with other agencies just in case this person could possibly exit and be on Surface Street. So lots of communication going on with the CHP right now, but obviously we don't see any ground units. So, I think a lot of people wonder, why aren't they chasing this person? Well, at speeds like this, no way, Mike.
Right, yeah, and they are. I am listening to, since we've come into Orange County, they're trying to get Santa Ana units into place. I hear them trying to kind of coordinate that. But, the 91, the way the 91 runs is we're not going to be in Orange County for very long, right? We're going to come right back into LA County, where this kind of started. I should also point out that the CHP fixed wing is above, but the LA County Sheriff's helicopter is still there. So if this comes back into LA County, then the sheriff's helicopter can certainly stay with it. But yeah, we'll see if any of the Santa Ana units are going to get in place, or if they're going to kind of sit tight and wait and let Santa Fe Springs get back involved when it comes back into LA County, or how they're going to handle that.
And Mike, earlier we talked about how these plates on the car came back as a wanted suspect, felony suspect. Do we know how that happened? Were they just in the area, or was the plates, were they read by a plate reader? How did they start to get on this person's track?
Yeah, we don't know that right now. We just know that the deputies at Lomita Station
41 minutes. It's almost ended.
Unclear why, if it was an ALP, automatic license plate reader, or if they were just doing patrol checks and ran it. Gotcha. But something about that plate popped, and they tried to pull it over, and that didn't work.
Yeah, so it's unclear if there are multiple people inside this car. Desmond says that he did have eyes on at least one female passenger exiting the vehicle during this chase at some point, and she was dropped off somewhere. So we do know at least one person obviously is driving this car, but other passengers, unclear right now. Do they have multiple passengers in the back? We have no idea. Is this person armed and dangerous? There was an initial report that this person could be, but the Lomita Sheriff Station has since backed up from that statement. So it's unclear right now. So lots of unknowns. And that's what makes this so dangerous for authorities, because they don't have a lot of answers. And question marks could be very dangerous because of the fact that they don't have that information when they want to stop this person. Obviously, if they are possibly armed and dangerous, there's no way they're going to try a pit maneuver, because if they're armed and dangerous, they could shoot at their officers, and that's dangerous. So, it's unclear what they're going to do to stop this person, but we do know we have eyes from the CHP, and as Meg mentioned, the LA County Sheriff's Department chopper still overhead as we are deep now into Orange County and headed back up to LA County in Buena Park.
And Susie, a lot of the chases that we've covered here in the past few months, we've seen these suspects, go very, very fast, sure, at some points slowing down and even just stopping and then continuing on.
And taunting officers,
right.
Sure.
This suspect has just been fast the entire pursuit.
And it just makes you wonder, as Desmond referred to, how much gas does this person have? Right. How much gas did they start with before this even began? It's really curious. Let's go back upstairs now to Desmond Shaw, live in SoCal. We are driving fast once again on the 91 westbound, headed back up to LA County now, Desmond.
Yeah, we are almost back in LA County now at this point, and on top of all of this driving, this is probably one of the highest average speed pursuits I've seen in a long time. We've been pretty consistently above 100 miles an hour just about the entire time, except when they've had to brake, up to 137, I believe our speedometer said at one point. But on top of all that, the suspect driving without their lights on, so the only real illumination of this vehicle is coming from that spotlight overhead from the helicopter there, LA County Sheriff's deputies. So they're probably really going to need to stay overhead on this one. The fixed wing aircraft above does not have a spotlight on it, obviously, and they're flying at a considerably higher altitude. And as we get back west, we'll see if that cloud layer is going to play any kind of a factor. If there are any kind of clouds at all, it's almost certainly going to hamper the fixed wing aircraft up there. So that's going to make the helicopter that much more important. We know that the clouds were not too low along the 110 because the sheriff's helicopter had been with this one for quite some time. The really, really low clouds were up around South LA and then west through the mid-city area, but no lights on, over 100 miles an hour. Of course, we've got that super dark pursuit tint on top of this Lexus IS as well. And just look at how dark it is out there if they don't have the spotlight on there. And you've got a vehicle going 100 miles an hour, and you're signaling for a lane change, and you can't see this person coming up behind you, and this ends very, very badly. So just so dangerous all the way around. Just another element to all of this, with the lights being off for a pretty big chunk of this pursuit, as we are basically back into LA County now at the Bloomfield exit. That's very close to the county line. So we'll be back at the 605 will be the next juncture, and the 710. And again, we'll just have to see how the weather is going to play into all this if this suspect continues. But we've covered, gosh, it must be well over 100 miles now at this point. So if you're going 100 miles an hour and you have less than a half a tank of gas, definitely wondering how much longer this the suspect can keep it up. Hopefully not much longer.
All right, and you talked about the weather. Desmond, we want to bring in Danny Roberti now. And Danny, I know you're watching this and tracking the weather as well. I know last night and tonight, the fog was a major problem.
Yeah, you know what? And that's what we're already starting to see. That fog is taking over. Not in Orange County. Things are clear there. I'm taking a look at our visibility right now, though. And we've got visibility down to 8-9 miles per hour, making his way back into LA County. And then into downtown Los Angeles, we're down to about 5 miles right now. We're not dealing with the dense fog advisories, but still, when we're dealing with this kind of fog, this is